Introduction. Did you know that much of the fear and anxiety we experience doesn't actually stem from the events in our lives, but from the way we perceive them? This concept was understood by the ancient Stoic philosophers over 2,000 years ago, and it remains more relevant than ever in today's fast-paced, constantly connected world. In an age where uncertainty often feels like a constant companion, from challenges at work to personal relationships, learning how to manage fear and anxiety is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. In this article, we'll explore 7 specific strategies grounded in Stoic wisdom that will help you face your fears and anxieties head-on. These are timeless methods practiced by some of history's greatest thinkers and leaders, and they've been tested and proven to bring about profound and lasting change. Before we dive in, consider this. By the end of this article, you'll have the tools to confront fear and anxiety with confidence, transforming them from obstacles into powerful sources of growth and resilience. Let's explore these Stoic lessons and uncover how they can help you take back control of your life. Understanding fear and anxiety through Stoicism. Fear and anxiety often show up in our lives uninvited, like unwelcome guests who overstay their welcome. But have you ever asked yourself, what exactly are these emotions? The Stoics would tell you that fear and anxiety are not the monsters we imagine them to be. Instead, they are signals, messengers that highlight our judgments about the world and the things we value. This understanding is the first step toward managing them. Imagine you're about to give a speech in front of a large audience. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind starts to spiral with what-if scenarios. You may fear judgment, failure, or embarrassment. But what is actually causing this anxiety? The event itself isn't inherently terrifying, it's your perception of it. The Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus believed that the key to overcoming fear and anxiety lies not in trying to avoid them, but in changing how we perceive them. As Marcus Aurelius himself once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, our fears often provide the path to personal growth if we learn to embrace them and adjust our mindset. 1. Reframe your perception. The power of perspective. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This concept is crucial when it comes to fear and anxiety. When you're afraid of something, you're often fearing an imagined outcome. The Stoics taught that by altering how we perceive an event, we can change its emotional impact on us. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that events are neutral. Our thoughts about them are what assign them meaning. For instance, instead of seeing a challenging situation as a potential disaster, you can reframe it as an opportunity to practice courage or resilience. By shifting your focus from fear to growth, you break the cycle of anxiety and open yourself up to new possibilities. In practical terms, when you feel anxiety creeping in, pause and question your assumptions. What evidence do you have that the feared outcome will actually happen? Is it within your control? Can you choose to see the situation in a different light? 2. Focus on what you can control. The Stoic dichotomy of control. A central tenet of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, the idea that we should focus only on what we can control and let go of everything else. Fear often arises from our desire to control the uncontrollable. Whether it's a difficult work project or a strained relationship, we tend to get anxious about factors beyond our influence. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to keep his focus on the present moment, emphasizing that we should act in accordance with virtue and reason, regardless of the outcome. By directing your energy toward what you can control, your actions, responses, and mindset, you remove the source of unnecessary anxiety. Take a moment to reflect. When faced with fear, are you focusing on things you cannot change? Are you spending energy on worrying about what might happen rather than what you can do in the moment? By practicing the dichotomy of control, you will find that anxiety often fades away when you release your attachment to things outside your grasp. 3. Practice negative visualization, preparing for the worst. It may sound counterintuitive, but one powerful Stoic technique for overcoming fear and anxiety is negative visualization, the practice of imagining the worst-case scenario. The Stoics believe that by contemplating what we fear the most, we can reduce its power over us. Imagine you fear losing your job. The Stoic approach would be to mentally run through the consequences. You lose your income, you might have to downsize your lifestyle, but in time, you would find another job or career. By confronting this possibility head-on, you realize that the worst isn't as catastrophic as your mind originally imagined. In fact, it becomes more manageable and less terrifying. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we fear is not what happens to us, but how we react to it." Through negative visualization, you train yourself to remain calm and rational, even in the face of adversity. This prepares you mentally and emotionally for whatever may come, alleviating unnecessary anxiety. 4. Embrace impermanence. All things are temporary. The Stoics were keenly aware of the fleeting nature of life. Fear and anxiety often arise from our attachment to things, whether it's our job, our health, or our loved ones. The Stoic practice of embracing impermanence reminds us that everything is temporary, and this includes the challenges we face. Marcus Aurelius reflected on the transience of life regularly, writing, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." By accepting that everything in life is temporary, we learn to detach from the outcomes and instead focus on how we respond to the present moment. When you feel anxious, remind yourself that the moment you're experiencing will pass. This thought alone can be incredibly freeing, allowing you to release your grip on fear and anxiety and approach life with greater clarity and peace. 5. Cultivate resilience. Build your inner strength. Stoicism isn't just about avoiding negative emotions. It's about building the inner resilience to face them with courage and composure. One way to do this is through deliberate practice, choosing to confront difficult situations and gradually building your tolerance to fear. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about using hardship as a training ground for personal development. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the less power it will have over you. Whether it's public speaking, having a difficult conversation, or taking on a challenging project, each experience is an opportunity to build resilience. Fear often diminishes when we realize that we are capable of handling difficult situations. Each time we face our fears, we grow stronger. This Stoic practice of turning adversity into an opportunity for growth is central to overcoming anxiety. 6. Practice mindfulness. Live in the present moment. Mindfulness, or present moment awareness, is another Stoic practice that can help reduce anxiety. Fear often arises when we get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. The Stoics encouraged living fully in the present moment, as it is the only time we truly have control over. Marcus Aurelius's personal journal was filled with reminders to stay present and avoid getting lost in distractions. By focusing on the here and now, we can free ourselves from the mental clutter that breeds anxiety. To practice mindfulness, focus on what you're doing right now. Engage fully with your surroundings, your thoughts, and your actions. When you feel anxiety rising, bring yourself back to the present moment. This simple practice can help you gain perspective and reduce the grip of fear. 7. Live according to virtue. Align your actions with your values. Finally, the Stoic philosophy teaches that living according to virtue, truth, justice, wisdom, and courage is the ultimate antidote to fear and anxiety. When you align your actions with your values, you build a life that is anchored in purpose and integrity. Fear often arises when we feel disconnected from our core principles or uncertain about the direction of our lives. By focusing on what is truly important, acting with honesty, compassion, and wisdom, you create a foundation of inner peace. When you live virtuously, you can face external challenges with confidence, knowing that your actions are aligned with your highest ideals. Conclusion. Fear and anxiety are a natural part of life, but they don't have to control us. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By practicing these Stoic strategies, you can take control of your thoughts, overcome fear and anxiety, and live a life of greater peace and